Hey, this is Eric at the Monterey Company here today to talk about heat applying a patch onto a hat, specifically using the Stahl's Hotronix IQ360. This is one of our favorite machines that we use to heat apply patches to hats. So let's go. What I really like about this style of hat press, specifically the Stahl's IQ360, is it has this really cool gauges to where you can set the temperature for a woven patch. You can set the temperature for the embroidered patch. You can do it for PVC as well. And the really cool thing is it does include top heat and bottom heat. And you can regulate the temperature of what you want. So for certain patches, you really want more bottom heat than top heat because you don't want to melt the patch or distort it in any way. Specifically PVC or silicone patches, you're going to want more bottom heat than top heat. So this is the machine to use if you want more control over how you heat apply your custom patches with the hat press. Before we get started, you're going to want to make sure that the heat press is plugged directly into the wall. Avoid using any extension cords or power blocks, anything like that, because this thing does pull a lot of heat. You don't want to start a fire or anything like that. We plug it directly into the wall. All right, and then it's pretty simple. You just hit the on button right here and you let this baby warm up. It does take about 15 to 20 minutes for it to warm up, so you can't use it right away. Just give it a minute to let it warm. So it's really cool. You can just hop right into here. What we have here, we have one for leather, we have one for PVC, embroidery, DTF prints, and you just toggle between them. You can add new ones too. All right, I'm going to run you guys through how to use the entire machine from setup right to the finished hat, how to really do it the right way so that the patch stays on for a long time. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to the embroidered patch setting. I already have this preset in here, so it's EMB. There it goes. So what we have for embroidered patches set at is 280 on the top. It looks like 320 on the bottom. So again, a little bit more bottom heat than top heat. And we have the pressure set at 8, and we are doing these for 50 seconds. 50 seconds is going to make sure that this patch is going nowhere. What we have here is a really cool, intricate embroidered patch. I love this patch. This is one of my favorites. They really nailed a bunch of fine detail in the patch. If you ever need custom embroidered patches, let us know. We produce these all the time, and we've been doing it since 1989. First thing I do is I like to essentially preheat the hat a little bit, kind of like the oven when you're baking a pizza. So what we'll do here, and this press is hot, so be very careful when you're adding the patch to the press because you don't want to burn yourself. So what I'll do is fold. One thing to make sure too is to fold down this area because you want all the heat of the press to be on the front of the hat. I always lock it in place with this lever back here, get it nice and tight, and then I always just smooth it out just to make sure there's no wrinkles, there's no bubbles, because this is going to essentially press the hat down really hard onto the patch with a good amount of pressure and a good amount of heat. And if there's a wrinkle, if it kind of wrinkles together, then your hat has a wrinkle in it and it looks bad. So next tip I'll give you is to invest in some really cheap thermal tape. This is going to be a game changer for you because you can put the patch exactly where you want on the hat and you don't have to worry about it moving, because without the thermal tape, sometimes when you put the press down, it'll slightly move and then you press the patch off center. So what I did was I put the thermal tape on the side of the patch, made it a little bit longer, so then we can just center it like exactly where we want. We want that text to be nice and high. We'll get that guy right on there. Again, it is hot. I mean, you can feel the heat coming from the press, but that looks really nice right there. Pro tip is to not forget the foam. I've forgotten the foam so many times and actually distorted or burned the hat. So this foam is really essential. It doesn't need to be super thick, but it just adds as another barrier to make sure the hat doesn't get distorted or burnt or anything like that. So we're gonna put this guy right here, right over the patch, and we're all set. We got the hat in there, we got the patch where we want it. We can start pressing. So here goes nothing. All right, that was it. So first thing you want to do, take the foam off, and then you really don't want to touch as I touched it. You don't want to touch the hat because it is really hot. All right, so I pulled this off the press just to let it cool for a little bit. You want to just let the hat sit for a little while before you start tinkering with it. Let the patch and the hat and the glue in between, just let it cure, let it bond together, let it cool down until it's close to room temperature. So here's the big reveal. All you have to do is remove the tape off of it, and boom, on there too. I mean, you're not going to get that off. You'll have to put some force into it to really rip that patch off there. If you find that the patch is a little bit off or it's not exactly where you want it, it's pretty easy to remove these. We actually have another video in our library and that shows you how to remove them really easy. So it's not the end of the world if the patch is a little bit off. You can remove it, you can move it, and then you can reapply the heat to the patch. Thanks for watching our video on how to use a hat press, specifically the Hotronix Fusion IQ 360. Hope this helps. If you ever need to quickly add patches to a hat, this machine is awesome. It does the trick. You can always get the patches directly from us too. We do a lot of sewing as well, so if you're ever interested in sewing patches to hats, we offer that service. Or if you're interested in the patches themselves to add to jackets, we can do that too. Again, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, let us know.